And this is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and welcome into the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you have a radio, you want to check out the audio. We are recording now live till 5, and also if you need a little assistance in setting up your audio, we do that also. So we'll be on the air from now until 5 recording, and then we'll post it up on YouTube in the next couple of days. And then if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, you would go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that would take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page you'll find a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. That's today's date. My Group Aircheck 8919. And just to review our situation, we have had 3 failures right in a row as far as our recording situation. The first one, we had a major power failure in our area, and it hit it at 4:55, and like another 5 minutes we'd have been shut down, and the recorder wouldn't have been running. But it hit at 4:55, and the computer recorder was active. So when the power drained, went away, the computer crashed, and with it the video file for our Qso-Vlog, and we tried various and sundry ways to revive the file, but alas, it would only play for 8 minutes out of the hour and a half, and we had some very, very magic minds other than mine try to work on it, but to no avail. So that one was a deep 6. And then we had the recovery program, which let's see, at the end of that one there was no file. I'm not really sure whether it was equipment failure or operator error. I prefer to think equipment failure. But anyway, and just as a note right now, I see the capture sign running on this Qso-Vlog recording, so we are in a record, and everything should be copacetic. We're hoping anyway. So now we'll check out real quick to see if Charlie K1GZL is out there. Charlie usually opens up our Qso-Vlog network. Charlie, you got a copy? And nothing heard with Charlie. I think he said that he might not be available this Friday. He was available last Friday when he thought he wouldn't, but his doctor got sick. Can you imagine that? Oh, well, not going to celebrate that, but it is makes you wonder when the doctor gets sick and can't. Well, anyway. So we will be live till 5. Our Qso-Vlog recorder is recording, so if you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, give me a shout. KC9VKV. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page, a network or whatever. I want to check one thing here. We have been into our mic preamp, and just want to assure that it's set back to normal. We have been experiencing a little RF in the AF, and my test for that is when you can turn your mic preamp 10 dB above its normal setting, and you don't have any artifacts of RF in your AF, then everything is copacetic. So that's a little a thought there for those that do have outboard preamps. I do use a tube preamp to try to get a little warmth going from the condenser microphone. Also, the preamp furnishes the 48-volt phantom power supply, and so but like I say, we're getting a little RF and the AF, and so we've been working around and kind of redid things, and it passed the test there of 10 dB over normal gain with no problems. So I just want to be sure I got the mic gain set back. This is a KC9VKV, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, give me a shout.
November India 8 Alpha.
November India 8 Alpha. Go ahead.
I guess I heard you say check out the audio. My name is Bob, Columbia, South Carolina, FT3000. Go ahead, sir.
Roger, sounding good. What kind of power are you running this afternoon?
Oh, I think I'm probably up around 800 watts. Go ahead.
Roger, that's a good place to be. Pretty much on Fridays, I have found that 100 watts and 300 miles gets you about maybe, if you're lucky, 2 dB above noise level. Roger.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say. Yeah, I got 1,000 watts on this thing. It's a ACOM 1500, and I can drop it down if you want. Let me just turn it up. If I don't come back to you, it'll be because we don't have the power. Can you still hear me?
Roger that. Yeah, you dropped about 6 dB, 6 dB above my noise level. From you were, I guess, about a 10 over, so you went to about 3 over noise level without the amp. Roger.
Okay, well, this is without the amp now. How are you doing now, Steve?
Roger. Now, but I don't know why you would be running without the amp. I mean, here's my exit from the amp. This is 100 watts right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's a KW right there. Roger.
No, I can't tell the difference either. Just a matter of tuning the dial and still having it up to the other station. But this is what now? This is CW. This is about 95 watts. Go ahead.
Roger. Yeah, I really prefer, to get the best recording possible. We are recording now live till 5, and you could check out your audio, hear it a little cleaner if you came up on your amp.
Okay, I do appreciate you. Thank you, Steve. God bless. 73.
Didn't catch that last, but 3 is, if you were checking out, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate it. And if you get a chance and want to check out your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll find a Qso marked My Group Aircheck 8919. My Group Aircheck 8919. We've got about 650 some odd Qso-Vlogs now, so things are just moving along quite well. So anyway, welcome into the Qso-Vlog network for this Friday. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV.
KC9, where are you located, Steve?
Station calling, come back with a call sign again. 8 Alpha, was that?
That's 8 Alpha. Where's your QTH, Steve?
Name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and we're located just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. Roger, we're on the Indiana side.
Okay, Jim, 73. Take care.
Roger, Roger. 3 is that way, sir. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, we are recording now live till 5. And then, within the next couple of days, we'll post it on YouTube. And you can go to YouTube and do the call letter search, KC9VKV, and look for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. Now, this is the recovery program. We have had actually literally 3 failures in a row. We went for 3 years without any problems, and now, for whatever reason, after the power outage and the crash, we've had 3 failures in a row. So, we'd have to stand down for 2 or 3 weeks by Air Force standards if we have a problem with this one. This is KC9VKV. W5, come back with the rest.
Yeah, that's W5, Romeo Charlie. W5 PRC, the name is Paul, but I'm in Truman, Arkansas.
Well, Paul, I had you a little bit there on the Milford PA SDR, but kind of faded out at the end. So I guess Mother Nature's doing one of her jobs this afternoon. But come back and try it again, Paul.
I'm in Truman, Arkansas, which is in northeast Arkansas. How do you copy, Glenn?
I got you a little bit better now on my local antenna. I copied Arkansas. Is that Roger?
Yeah, that's correct, Glenn.
Okay, and what radio are you running, sir?
450, Kenwood, running barefoot, hand mic.
Roger. Well, doing a pretty good job there. I got you at about 4 dB over my noise level, but you were above that some and below that some, Roger.
Yes, it's the band is up and down. I don't hear much on 40 meters here, but I was sitting across, and I heard you there, and I said, well, I think I'll go ahead and check in, and then when I get done, I'll go to the computer, and maybe I can hear what this thing sounds like.
Roger, Paul. Now, there is a little delay on my part as far as getting around to being able to post it. So I usually say within the next couple of days, I'll get it posted up on YouTube. A lot of times, it's usually a lot quicker than that. But just to be on the safe side, I usually give it 2 days. Roger?
Yeah, you got a lot there to do, and it takes time to do it, so it's no problem.
And I've really got my fingers crossed that this is going to be a good take, since we have had 3 in a row that have gone south for various reasons, all starting from a major power outage in our area while the computer was recording. And of course the computer crashed and the video file was lost, forever unretrievable. Although, the video size said it was 2-point-something gigabytes of information, which is usually just about correct for an hour-and-a-half program, but it would only load out 8 minutes. So, I tried for 20 hours myself to various and sundry programs to try to restore that file, but I couldn't, and then I turned it over to my Elmer and his crack entourage of computer experts, and they are computer experts, and they also could not revive that crashed file. So I didn't feel badly then when they couldn't perform magic, Roger.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I just looked at the radio here, Jim, and I seen where the processor was turned on. So I turned it off, and I thought maybe we could try it there with the processor off. And now I'm going to turn it back on. So there's the processor on the radio there. So I don't know if you can hear any difference or not. But anyway, we'll give it a try there. Go ahead.
Roger, Paul. Well, I only had you were only about 2 dB above my noise level when you fired that compressor up. And, I can only tell what is happening by my noise level. If you're 5 dB above my noise level, then I can see a lot of stuff happening and working, and how it works, and what your average peak modulation is and all that stuff. But when the noise is up, you're only 2 dB above noise, you can't tell much. But I do suggest that you run that compressor at about a 3 out of 10. It's not anything that you'll hear working, and that's the whole idea, because when you hear a compressor compressor working, they're cranking in too much. You just want that to just settle a slight score there audio-wise, and so a 3 out of 10 does that perfectly. And then we move to the ALC, and with the mic gain in hand, we adjust the ALC for a mid-scale to 2/3 reading. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter after you bring that compressor to a 3 out of 10. Roger?
I've got this rig here, and it's new to me, and I've got the book. I'm going to have to read the book and understand it a little bit more. I'm just talking on it just like it was when it was handed to me. But anyway, I'm glad that you have this little feature here where you can record and let people play back. That's a good service there. I've never heard of anybody that would do that. But anyway, I'm going to let someone else get in there and maybe they can check their rig out. And you say about a couple of days, so that'll be about Sunday for me, and I'll check this out there. So KC9VKV, this is W5PRC.
Roger, Roger. Let me get that W5PRC. I knew I was missing a letter in there. You were 5 over that last transmission, so you'll have a pretty good audio check recording with a 5 over. So a good deal. We'll be posting this, and like I say, within the next couple of days, and it'll be identified after you go to YouTube and do a call letter search, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and that's take you to the Qso-Vlog page, and you'll be looking for my group Aircheck 8919. 8919. Roger, Roger.
Yes, and do I just listen to all that until I find it, huh?
Well, I'll tell you, let me give you a mark. It is 3:45, so you've probably been, for the last 5 minutes or so, so probably there's a clock on the wall on the Radio Shack, so you'll be looking for, if you just want to cut to the chase, man, you'll be looking for 3:40, Roger?
Okay, I understand. That's 3:40. You're Eastern time, so I'm Central. Okay, sounds good, Jim. Thank you very much. And talk later. KC9VKV, W5PRC.
Roger, Roger, Paul. Now, a lot of folks track through the whole recording because they have a kaleidoscope of different radio tonalities to consider, that I've always found to be most interesting. I guess that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because, there are all different kinds of modulation setups, probably as many modulation setups as radios, but not really. I know for a fact about 170 some odd ICOM 7300s are set up identical, and about 60 7610s, and they're doing quite well. Well, what we want to do at the end of our setup is have an audio spectrum width of 3 dB, and with the 3 dB audio limit, your average peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. That is average peak modulation, not just peak modulation. So anyway, Paul, 3's that way, sir, and appreciate the check by, and if you get a chance, check in next Friday. We will love to see you there and talk about what you've been up to and all that stuff. So 3's for now. KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Okay, Jim, one more thing. What time do you start this, and what time do you end? Next Friday, I will be on my way to Huntsville, Alabama, to the Ham Fest, so I won't get to check in next Friday. But I'm making a little note here, and so give me the time when you start and everything.
Oh, yes, sir. We start at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time. My time right now is 11 till 4. Right now, my time is 11 till 4, Roger.
And what time do you end?
At 5, plus or minus, but not usually minus, but usually we're maybe 5 or 10 over.
Okay, great. I appreciate it. And chat later.
Roger, Roger, and good luck on your Hamfest there. If you get a chance to get a couple of insulators, let's see, what else did I need? I need some insulators and some, well, anyway, you have a good time at the Hamfest. This is KC9VKV, and we are doing our Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Whiskey 4, Juliet, Lima, Foxtrot.
Let's see here. Whiskey 4. Give me the rest.
Juliet, Lima, Foxtrot. Name is John.
Roger, John. You know what? I keep grabbing the stylus, the computer screen stylus, instead of the pen, and it slows me up. So I usually miss the call the first time at least, Roger.
QSO, I can understand that. I'm running an ICOM 7300, which you mentioned earlier. I'm just curious what the audio on this one sounds like.
All right, now you're not using the supplied hand mic, Roger?
I am. I'm using the stock hand mic.
Okay, are you familiar with your points of interest on that radio?
As far as the audio setup?
Yes, sir. I would go to my EQ, mic EQ, tone control, as ICOM might call it, and I would brighten it up. That hand mic should be much more brighter than what it is, so whatever your top-end EQ setting now is, I would give it 2 to 3 dB, plus 2 to 3 dB more, Roger.
Okay, I'll have to go back into the menu and take a look at that. It'd take me a few minutes, but like I said, I'm just curious what it sounds like right now.
Roger. Well, I'll tell you what, maybe we could go in with some of the other setup and do the EQ last, or, later. I'd suggest running a 3 out of 10 on the compressor. On that radio, engage the compressor and make it a 3 out of 10. Roger?
Yeah, I can tell you right now, I believe that's set at 4.
Yeah, I would pull it to 3. It's just a question of not hearing it work. And 3 just works perfectly for our setup. If if you can pull it to 3, go ahead. Otherwise, we'll go on with the setup.
Okay, I'll reset that now to 3.
All right, now I would go to my ALC meter and adjust my mic gain to where my ALC meter is running a mid-scale to 2/3. There's a station way back in there, a standby station. Johnny, you're searching for your mic level control?
Yeah, I haven't had this radio that long, so I'm still learning.
I know what you mean. Yeah, like it sounds like it might be close, but again, your ALC is your Bible. It's will tell you exactly what you're doing, and the setup is for a mid-scale to 2/3 on that meter. As you have your mic gain in hand, and you just talk into your mic just like normal, and adjust that. And you don't want to go or any of that stuff. You just want to talk like normal and adjust your mic gain to where your ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3.
QSO, I will take some time to dig in right here. This is James. You're in, let's see, I looked that up. Indiana, but I forgot what town it was.
Well, we just identify as being across from Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. I mean, you wouldn't, if I told you New Albany, Indiana, you wouldn't have the faintest concept of where that is, Roger.
Yeah, I do. I grew up in Elkhart, up in northern Indiana.
Ah, Roger. Well, one of a dozen of us out there.
All right, James, I appreciate your time. I will do some playing with this. I need to go to the doctor's trumpet this next night. I appreciate your time.
Roger, John. Well, just take notes. You know, you've got the compressor set up right. You want to do that ALC meter mid-scale to 2/3 by adjusting your mic gain. And then you want to crank in about 3 dB more top-end EQ, treble equalization for that microphone. And a word about using that microphone, you want to be sure and work it from the side of your mouth. Don't talk directly into it, or you'll get a lot of transients and plosives and stuff. So you want to work that mic to the side of your mouth, which will reduce all that mouth garbage. Or you can go down to your favorite music store and pick up a foam windscreen and slip right on that mic, and then you can work it just exactly however you want to, Roger.
I appreciate it. I'll do some more playing with this radio. KC9VKV, W4JLF. I appreciate it.
Roger, I'm hoping that your ALC is running light because your dynamic range is at this time just about 10 dB, and we want to compress that, reduce that dynamic range to about 3 dB. So with 10 dB dynamic range, your average peak modulation is about 30%. With 3 dB dynamic range, your average peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. So the perceptive volume is about twice the volume, but it doesn't, you know, it's very transparent the way the setup is, so you don't really hear, you know, it doesn't sound like you're up against the wall. It just sounds like you're pleasantly there. Very good, Roger.
All right, QSL. Thanks again, James.
Roger, John, 3 sideways. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page. We're running now live till 5. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, we are recording. And then we'll post it up on YouTube in the next couple of days. And you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. And that will bring up our Qso-Vlog page. And you'll be looking for Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919, which is coincidentally today's date. My Group Aircheck 8919. This is KC9VKV.
KC9VKV W4 NFR.
Well, there you go there. W4 NFR, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Roger, what's the name?
Handles Bill, we're in Pennington Gap, Virginia, kind of where Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee come together.
Roger, and what's the name there?
Bill.
All right, Bill, and what radio are you running today, sir?
Running the IC7300.
Okay, come back and tell me about your antenna system for about 10 seconds.
Okay, yeah, this is W4 NFR. We're running a 6-wire cage dipole for 40 meters. It's not real high, but it's pretty broad and works for us. We got a 7300 running 9 watts out, driving a homebrew solid state amp. And that's about it.
Roger, you did say 7300?
Say again?
Or you did say you were running a 7300?
Find out why my box is hanging up.
We'll try it again. Bill, do you copy me now?
Yeah, I'll have to adjust my box later.
All right. 7300, we have a setup for that if you might be interested. Usually stock 7300 without any compression or setup. It could be 10 dB dynamic range. We try to pull that to about a 3 dB dynamic range. Starts with the compressor, running about a 3 out of 10 on the compressor, just very token amount. And then move on to the ALC and do with mic gain control, set the ALC for mid-scale to 2/3. At the end of that, you should be about a 3 dB dynamic range. Roger?
Roger. Yeah, I don't run compression, but appreciate it.
Roger. Well, then what you'll be running is about 10 dB dynamic range, and your modulation would be average 30% average peak modulation with 10 dB dynamic range.
Roger, roger.
And obviously everybody needs to, run it like they want. Just remember when, if you're right down in somebody's noise level, if you're a 10 dB dynamic range, your audio is going to be, playing tag with the noise, whereas if you are running a 3 dB dynamic range, your audio will be, fatter and more perceived more as far as being able to hear the words, as opposed to just hearing a voice in the noise and not being able to tell what they're saying.
Roger, roger. Well, I do mostly rag chewing. I don't chase any DX, so I don't tend to work, the weak signals much.
Well, now that must be nice, but from time to time, a KW can be a weak signal to somebody somewhere,
Oh, yeah, I know. It's time to pull the plug, say 7.3s.
Well, I guess I got to go till 5, though, with my 100 watters from 300 miles away coming in at 2 dB above noise level. But, Mother Nature throws a bone every once in a while, and that 100 watts from 300 miles comes up to maybe a 5, 6, 7 over. So you never can tell what magic may be working.
Yep, roger, roger. Well, thanks for the info, and we won't hold up the net, but I appreciate it. This is W4NFR.
Roger, Bill, and if you want to check out your audio, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll find a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. 8919. So 3's, Bill. We'll catch you later. It's KC9VKV.
WA4JK.
Was that WA4 something?
Whiskey Alpha 4 Juliet Kilo.
Now I've got the right pen, but I don't have the right in. Whiskey Alpha 4. Give me the rest.
Juliet Kilo.
Juliet Kilo. And what's the name there, sir?
The name is Jerry. Romeo Yankee.
Roger, Jerry. Well, we're hoping that we're going to have a successful recording this afternoon. We have had 3 failures in a row. We went 3 years without any problems, and then we had a power failure and knocked our computer crashed, and the video file was lost. And then we had a second one at the end of the Qso. We had no file. I'm not sure what that was, but we're thinking that possibly this recorder program may have been affected by the crash. And this is not a standalone recorder program. It's embedded in 2 other programs. So we have uploaded all 3 programs again, and so we keep our fingers crossed, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. DX3000 and got a house tied to it directly feeding it with.
Roger, I was just looking around for an SDR or something on that last transmission. I still copy you best on my my local antenna. We are located just across the river from Louisville, Kentucky, on the Indiana side of the mighty Ohio. And so I am copying you mostly best on my local antenna. And so repeat your radio again, please.
Yeah, it's the Yaesu FTDX 3000. And feeding it with a high-10 microphone grip.
Oh, roger that, roger that. Well, I would suggest one of my pet peeves is always a little brighter audio signal if possible. I would crank in maybe a couple of dB more top-end EQ just to add some articulation to the audio and some, sibilance to be able to hear what's being said more easily than just being able to hear, a less articulated signal. Roger?
Okay. Well, when you say all that, it kind of gets gibberish, but I'm not sure on the EQ, mic EQ, what I would increase or decrease to bring the highs up. Let's see. I've got the frequency at 100, the EQ level at 10. The EQ width at 3 and the frequency at 700. Should I raise the frequency up?
Well, the main thing is that you're in your widest possible mode. Is that correct? To 100 to 2900?
Yes.
Roger. That's the main thing. A lot of people are under misconception that if they're trying DX or stuff like that, that they have to restrict that bandpass. And what happens is when you start restricting your bandpass, you lose that top end, which is so important for articulation. So you want to be in the broadest form that you can be, 100 to 2900. Now, on your EQ, is that a 3? What radio are you running? Okay, and is that a 3 dB, 3 EQ or 2 EQ control?
Well, give me the line. I'm not positive. It's got a mic here. I'm not running the mic processor. I'm just running straight into it with a mic EQ. I don't have a processor compressor on.
Roger. Now, we do usually suggest running, engaging that compressor at about a 3. It's just barely in there, but it does exactly what it needs to do. You'll never hear it operating at a 3, and that's the whole idea. When you hear a compressor working, they're cranking in too much. A 3 out of 10, you'll never hear that compressor actually working, but it is part of the fattening process. The other part of that fattening process is if you go to your ALC meter and adjust your mic gain to where your ALC meter is reading a mid-scale to 2/3. When you do that, then you should have about a 3 dB dynamic range in your audio. Roger?
Okay, well, let me look. Let's see, that's about where I'm at right now. Just a little bit over 50% with the processor on.
Roger, roger. Now, you might check out a windscreen for that mic, or what mic is that?
It's a high-fin. It's got the screen in it and everything. It's all there.
Roger, I thought I heard a little transient there, but you might want to work that just a little bit further away, maybe an inch or inch and a half. Roger, I don't know how close you were to it.
Yeah, I had moved forward when I turned the processor on, so I was probably a little bit too close.
Roger, and you look like you might be hitting that ALC a little hard. I just hearing it as a little peak rip. You might pull your audio level down just a little bit, but do that looking at your ALC meter, Roger.
Okay. Back it down where it's just barely. Take down a little bit more. There's about 50% on the ALC, so that should be about right.
Yes, sir. Sounds a lot better. It was kind of getting ragged on the peaks the way it was before. So mid-scale to 2/3, I find, is just a perfect reading for most ALC meters. And again, on your EQ, I would crank in. What's your top end EQ? What frequency is that top end?
Top end's at 3,200.
Excellent. I would take that 32, and what is it, a 10? I mean, do you have capabilities up to a 10 on that? How is that marked?
Now, to be honest with you, I couldn't explain it to you because it's the way they've got it set up. It doesn't necessarily equate to anything else. But, I mean, right now it's the EQ3 frequency is at 3,200 and EQ4 is at 10. And then you have a 2 at 7, and you can go backwards from there. So I'm not sure we're looking at 3 or 1.
Roger. Well, I would adjust the top end EQ 2 from where it is. That's what I'll do. +2 from where it is up. Roger.
Okay, you talking about on frequency or the level?
On the EQ control, we want to brighten the audio just a little bit at 3,200 by adding 2 clicks more EQ than what it has on 3,200. And this is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. We are recording now live till 5. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. Right now we're talking with Jerry, and Jerry's going to crank in a couple of clicks more top-end EQ.
Okay, did that help you right there?
Mobile, stand by just a moment, Jerry. Come back and talk to me for about 10 seconds. Tell me about your radio.
Okay. It's a Yaesu FT DX3000, so let's see if that picked up the brightness a little bit right there.
Roger. We have Whistler's mother back in there. Station standby, please. We're working on Jerry for the moment. Jerry, I would back down about 1 click or 2. What's your bottom end EQ?
Okay, how's that right there?
Talk to me for a minute.
All right. WA4JK, testing the audio of an FT DX3000.
Roger, Roger. Now your EQ, are you running EQ about a 3 out of 10 on that, Roger?
Roger.
Okay, and talk to me for a minute. Look at your ALC and adjust, double check again for mid-scale to 2/3 on that meter.
Okay, it's sitting at 50% on the ALC, a little bit over on hard pump, but other than that, it's holding pretty steady at 50%.
Roger, well, your dynamic range looks to be running about 2 dB, so you're in excess of probably 85% average peak modulation, so you're doing real well, Roger.
Well, that's what you want to hear then.
Roger, and I am copying you on my receiver, which is flat down to 100 cycles. And your bottom end is very nice. If I were copying you on one of those SDRs, they have a tendency to roll quite a bit below 150 cycles. But I do have a spectrum analyzer tied to my receiver, so if you check out your recording, you'll be able to see your audio with the spectrum analyzer. And it's just a word of information about that analyzer. It's got 3 little hash marks on it. The one furthest to the left is the bottom end, and that hashtag is at 100 cycles, and then it has 2 at the top, and the first one moving out is 1 KC. Then there is a black line which is 2 KC, and then that final white mark is 4 KC. So you want to be rolling out there somewhere between that black line and that second white line on the right side, Roger.
Yeah, okay. Well, when you get this posted, I'll take a listen to it, and then I'll look at slap the O-scope on the thing and take a look at it and see what I'm seeing on my end. And appreciate the time. I enjoyed it. This is brand new radio to me, so I haven't had a solid-state radio since 1990, and been running homebrew tube-type equipment until about a week ago, so it's all brand new to me. Appreciate the time. This is WA4JK. I'll relinquish the frequency back to you to pick up others.
Roger, Jerry. Now, I would, just out of curiosity, try backing off your mic about 2 inches. I'm not sure where you were, but try about 2 inches away from the microphone, and let me hear that for a minute.
Okay, this is the normal operating position. I'd lean forward, but normally this is where I would be at. But I got noise in the background too. Right,
that's exactly perfect right there. That's where you want to be. Yeah, you know where you want to be. So when you leaned in, you got heavy on frequency response, and you got a little distorted on your ALC overdrive. But where you were last is perfect, Roger.
Yeah, Roger. That's normally where I operate is right here, and I normally run an AM transmitter. I got a homebrew AM transmitter with a whole audio chain in front of it, but I've never had to deal with the internal systems of a solid-state transmitter, modern variety. So listen to retirement, I've been a diversify and pick up some more hand gear before I get to retirement. So we'll start that here in December, and I got the gear, so I'll get it right and have some. And I'll look you up on YouTube and listen to this thing, WA4JK.
Roger, Jerry 3's that way, sir. And like I say, we'll post this within the next couple of days, so probably sooner than that, but outside the next couple of days. And just check with YouTube for our Qso-Vlog page by our call sign, Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, and this QSO is entitled to My Group Aircheck 8919. So 3's to you, sir. You have a real good afternoon, and we'll catch you later. If you get a chance, join us next Friday. So this is KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. KC9VKV listening.
Kilo 8 Tango November Tango.
November Tango, come back with the call sign again.
Kilo 8 Tango November Tango, like dynamite.
TNT.
TNT.
Roger, and what's the name there, please, sir? Was it Jerry or Gary?
Gary. Gary, Golf Alpha, Radio Yankee.
Roger. And Gary, what radio are you running, sir? Roger, and what's your location again?
Location is in Michigan, near Flint, Michigan, in the township of Grand Blanc. Go ahead.
Roger that, Gary. I'm copying you on the Milford PA SDR, and you're giving that SDR about a 10 over, Roger.
Roger. Good deal. I'm glad that I can reach you. I just thought, I just got this mic for this radio. I really haven't had a chance to adjust or anything. I just put it on and it's playing with a little switch on the bottom. It's got 3 little positions for it, and I just wondered how it sounds in this position. So go ahead.
I would leave it in that position. It sounds beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing on that microphone. You might, we might get you a little fatter if you'd be interested in that audio-wise, but the mic setting itself, I think, is just perfect.
Perfect. Oh, good. Glad to hear that. I've only used it once or twice since I've had it, so I really haven't had any great comments on it, but I kind of asked, and everybody says, oh, it sounds good, but you really don't know what they mean when they say it sounds good, so I thought I'd give you a chance to give me a real
a check out and let me know what's going on. Go ahead.
Roger. Now, I am copying you on an SDR, and SDRs are notorious for not real good frequency response on the bottom end. They all seem to roll after 150 cycles or two, but your audio is, on that SDR is nice and bright, and it's exactly where you would want to be EQ-wise from that microphone. Now, to get to the fattening part, we suggest running that compressor, engage the compressor at about a 3 out of 10. Just a token amount, but a 3 out of 10. That's the beginning of the fattening process. Roger?
Roger, okay, I can make that change, but it's a menu selection. I can do it later. I probably won't turn it past the 3, but it's probably, I don't know if it sounds good now. I don't know what to do with it. A little bit more compression. Go ahead.
Roger, what is this part of the setup there? Your dynamic range looks to be... come back and tell me about your antenna system.
Oh, antenna system is a horizontal loop about 30 feet.
Other stations, stand by just a moment. We're working on Gary right now. And now, Gary, you're going to have to give me a little bit more audio than that. Roger, Roger.
Roger. Okay, what I can tell you about the antenna system, the antenna I'm on right now is a horizontal loop. It's up about 30 feet in the air, and it's fed with twin coax. Go ahead.
Roger. Gary, I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, you got it going there, buddy. You're a 3 dB dynamic range, so your average peak modulation is between 80 and 85%. Your microphone is pretty well articulated from the nice top end, so your words are nice and crisp, and so you be able to be understood even when you're towards someone's noise level, because your audio is bright and articulated. Roger?
Roger. Oh boy, if it sounds half as good as yours, I'll be a happy camper. I'll tell you that, Jim. It's I've been listening to you for a little while here, and you got great audio. Okay, well, thank you. I'm not touching a thing. I just leave it alone, and got lucky then with the mic, because I just bought the mic at a swap here in Gladwin, Michigan, and just so I try something else for a change on the radio. So with that, we'll say 73s, and we'll say thank you again. Appreciate your help. And I've also got a 7300, and I may be back next Friday with that, and we can critique that one. How's that?
Oh, that's fine. I'll add it to my list. I think we're at about 170 7300 audio setups. So if you get a chance, drop by next Friday with that 7300, and we'll get that thing running with about a 3 dB dynamic range, average peak modulation 80 to 85%. And then if you're are you still running the hand mic on that 7300?
No, I'm running a gold line on 7300.
Okay, well, that 7300 hand mic is just an outstanding mic. Those ICOM folks didn't just put that hand mic on there for no reason. That 7300 with that hand mic, it's a electret condenser hand mic, and it just shows off that radio just beautifully. So when you go to a desk mic and take that hand mic off, you're going to probably have to do a little EQing to come up to snuff and to equal what the hand mic was doing. Roger.
Roger. I understand. I had a lot of nice audio comments with the hand mic, to be honest about it. But you know how it is. You always got to try something else, and I wanted to try desk mic. Actually, I got an SM30 as well. And but right now I'm trying the gold line on it. So Jim, I just kind of play around till I get a good combination. And luckily I got this one very early. Go ahead.
Roger. Now that 30, is that an electret mic, a desk mic?
Yeah, boy, it's a dynamic. It's a dynamic mic. Go ahead. I believe it's electric. Probably 600 ohms.
Okay, well, you know, it either is a dynamic or electret. If it was an electret, you'd be a lot closer to match that hand mic than a dynamic mic. But I'm sure we can make it sound good through EQ. So if you get a chance, drop by next Friday. Roger, Roger.
Roger. Send me 3. Thanks a lot, Jim, and appreciate your info. Thank you very much. And your input. KTNT. QRT here. Go ahead.
Roger, Roger, Gary 3's that way, sir. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next Friday if possible. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, we are recording now live till 5, and if you need a little assistance in setting it up, we do that also. This is KC9VKV.
Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Charlie Oscar.
The Oscar station, come back with your call sign again.
Yeah, I just have one radio check there. This is Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Charlie Oscar. Name here is Angelo. We're located just northwest of Toronto up here in Canada, over.
Roger that, Roger that. My Canadian friend. What radio are you running, sir?
I'm on a Flex here on a 6400.
Roger, Roger on the Flex 6400. And let's see here. So I still didn't get all that call sign. I've got VA3. Give me the rest.
Alpha Charlie Oscar.
I got you there. I got you there. And you're near where?
Just northwest of Toronto, up here in Canada. Downtown Pittsburgh. I've worked you many times on many different radios. I'm in downtown Pittsburgh, mobile, getting ready to go into another tunnel. When I first heard you, you were very strong, but you probably got back to me in the tunnel, and I didn't hear you. So I'm in downtown Pittsburgh, going under big bridges and getting ready to go into the tunnel. So there you have it. Over.
All right, I got you, man. You were right in somebody else's QSO, but I understand in a mobile you got to take your shot when you can. So I got you there going into those overpasses and underpasses and all that stuff up around Pittsburgh. That mobile is doing you a fine job. And so if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, you will find your mobile on my group Aircheck 8919. 8919. Roger?
Roger.
And so much for that. Back to VA3 ACO.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't know there was another station in there. I didn't hear anybody. I hear you fine there. No problem at all. Hope you hear me okay there. Trying to the roof antenna here on 80 meters there.
Tuning not too bad there, over.
Roger. Now I just switched over to my local antenna instead of going through the Milford PA SDR, and I'm catching you at about 10 dB over my noise level. So tell me about your antenna system.
Okay, very good. So just an 80-meter loop, and it seems to work also on 40 meters here. It works quite well there. I got a 4-to-1 current balance, and I got about 130 feet of coax to the jack here, and running, trying out this solid-state amplifier here from Polestar, running about roughly between, let me see what we got here, between 600 and 700 watts there, over.
Roger, yes, 10 dB over my noise level. Now, if you would like to be a little bit fatter, we suggest running that compressor at about a 3 out of 10. Just barely in there, but it does serve the purpose of fattening the signal. You don't hear it working, but it is working its magic. So if you would be interested in fattening up just a tad on your audio, that compressor 3 out of 10, and then move to the ALC meter and do a mid-scale to 2/3 setup with your mic gain on that ALC meter. Roger?
Yeah, okay, I'm not too familiar with this here yet, and slowly getting used to this. I'm new to the SDR stuff there, over.
Roger, if you've got a pencil and a paper, maybe take notes and then do it at your leisure. First, engage your compressor at a 3 out of 10. Engage your compressor at a 3 out of 10. Then move to your ALC meter, and with a mic gain in hand and speaking in a normal voice level, adjust that ALC meter by using your mic gain to where the ALC meter is running mid-scale to 2/3, mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC meter. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. Okay. I did just on this one here. It's got okay. I'll have to go in the menu there and go in the ALC there. Okay, very good. Well, I marked that down, and I'll give it a shot, and we'll try to check back in here again and see what it sounds like. Over.
Roger, yeah, and your EQ on your mic is just perfect. You wouldn't have to do any re-EQing there. I would just leave all that EQ. The mic just sounds beautiful. We just need to get it a little fatter.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot. You're bombing in here also. I don't know where you're located, but big, strong signal up here into Canada. Go ahead.
Roger, we're down around Louisville. We're just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. Roger?
Okay, very good. Yeah, so you're southwest, pretty much southwest of me. Very good. Sounding real good up this way here into Canada. I appreciate that, and thank you. I'll have to try to check back in here, and I hope you remember what we sound like. 7-3, thank you very much. This is Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Charlie Oscar.
Roger, and the name was Angelo?
Roger.
Roger, Angelo. Yeah, if you get a chance, join us next Friday. We start at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time and run till 5, air checking all the time. So if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, beautiful signal, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. That will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. We have about 650 Qso-Vlogs at the moment, but on that page 1, you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. My Group Aircheck 8919. Roger?
8919. Got that. Thank you very much, okay?
Roger, yes, just today's date, 8919. So 3's that way, and we'll catch you later, Angelo. You have a good evening, and maybe if all things are equal and the creeks don't rise, give us a shout next Friday at 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And so just to be sure, our time now is 4:31 or thereabouts. So 3's that way. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page.
Kilo Alpha 9 Zulu.
Kilo Alpha 9 Zulu.
It's Tom in Charlestown, Indiana.
Charlestown, Indiana. What was the name?
Tom, Tango Oscar Mike.
And your Kilo Alpha 9. What? Give me your call again.
Kilo Alpha 9 Zulu.
Roger, Kilo Alpha 9 Zulu. Yeah, and what radio are you running there, Tom?
I'm running a Flex 6400M. 6400M.
That's a 6400 Mary.
Roger, roger.
Roger, and you're doing about 100 watts. What's your antenna?
I'm actually doing about 400 watts through a Helicraft KPI 500. I got an end-fed halfway 80-meter antenna up about 25 feet or so.
Roger. You're doing about 5 dB above my noise level. About 5 dB, so therein lies, that thing about needing a relay from Alaska, because you are just that distance from me that your signal is, down for 400 watts. You would expect that I would be a peg out, but it has to do with pretty much everything moves by skywave, and we're kind of close, Roger.
Roger, roger. I'd probably do better if I put my antenna closer to the ground.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't think there's much answer to the thing of being too close. You know, it's just you can't get there from here hardly, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Well, all right, Tom, let me say threes to you, sir, and we are recording live till 5. If you want to hear what your radio sounds like, if you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page, and on that page you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. My Group Aircheck 8919. Roger?
I did have a comment on the Flex radio. If you try to set the compression, they only have 3 settings, basically. You have normal, you have DX, and DX plus. So when you're advising people, they can't do a 3 out of 10.
Yeah, Roger, yeah. They would just do a normal setup on that. Just a token amount there. Normal, I'm assuming, would be a 3 to a 4 in numbers, Roger. So, threes, Tom, and you have a good afternoon, sir. Thanks for checking in, man. And we'll catch you maybe next Friday if you get a chance. Jump in. We're live till 5. We start about 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time, and it's now 4:35 for reference. Threes. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page. If you've got a radio, you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. Heard a couple of stations back in there, but they were right at my noise level. So if you want to try again, this is KC9VKV. The station calling, you're just right. Actually, you're under my noise level. I couldn't even see my noise level move. Well, I could hear you, but I couldn't understand what you were saying. So maybe if conditions change here in the next little bit, give me a shout or check in next Friday. But right now, try one more time. Let's just see. KC9VKV. Whiskey Delta 9, and give me the rest. Hotel Oscar Tango. Hot. Nice call sign. Oh, you didn't disappear so quick. Try it again. This is KC9VKV. Well, apparently, hot just burn up and disintegrated. No contact. Try one more time, sir. I'm sorry, I copy nothing. So threes, maybe next Friday, give us a shout. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog program. If you've got a radio you want to check out the audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV. W4LOF. W4LOF.
Yes, sir. The call is Whiskey 4, Lima, Oscar, Sierra, QSL.
LOS, loss of signal. That's NASA signal, Roger.
Roger that, for sure. Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you. Just heard you pretty good here, up and down on the band with QSD, but I got a pretty good S7, S9 signal on you at the moment, sir. The name here is Mike India Kilo Echo. Calling located in Cedartown, Georgia. Cedartown, Georgia, sir, about 70 miles northwest of Atlanta. Just shooting around here a little bit on 40 meters. And I just thought we'd say good afternoon to you, sir, and just check in when I get to the audio report. Hopefully today a little bit of lots of signal, more than loss of signal.
most of the time. Just like it was for sure, sir, in the days of Apollo there and the NASA Apollo manned space mission. But glad you're able to hear me this afternoon. Hope you're doing well. I think it's KC9. I forgot to call it. Was KC9? What was that? Victor? I'm sorry, I missed it. W4 LOS.
Roger, Mike. Call sign is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. Name is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and we are located just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky, and the Indiana side of the Ohio River. And you're giving me about a 5 over my noise level from Georgia. 5 over my noise level from Georgia, Roger.
Roger, KC9VKV, W4 LOS, returning very good, Jim. Nice to meet you, sir, and glad to check in, I guess, with your group. I think you called it live at 5, first time I've done it, had a chance, but yeah, you really dropped out on the QSB, really grabbed you for a second, but thanks for good day and a good weekend, sir. Stay cool. It's a warm one, quite warm down here our way today. About 95 degrees in the shade today, with about 60% humidity. So nowhere to be inside here.
Roger, Mike. Did lose the last little bit of that. Conditions did shift out quite a bit, but if you still have a copy, you want to check out your audio. If you go to YouTube in the next couple of days and use the call letter search of Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for a Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. My Group Aircheck 8919. Roger?
Very good, Jim. I'll definitely check that out.
Roger, Mike. 3 set way, sir. Thanks for checking in. If you get a chance, give us a shout next Friday. We start at about 3:30 Eastern Daylight Time and go till 5. This is KC9VKV. If you've got a radio, you want to check out the audio, or you want to set up your audio, give us a shout. KC9VKV.
Kilo Zulu 4 Zulu Kilo.
Zulu Kilo. Give me your call sign from the top, please.
Kilo Zulu 4 Zulu Kilo.
Too many K's, too many Z's. One more time, please.
Kilo Zulu 4 Zulu Kilo.
I got you. What's the name there?
Name is Smiley. You and I talked several months ago. You were my first HF contact in 38 years. Do you remember that?
Oh, well, how could I forget? Of course. So how's things been going? Are you making a lot more contacts?
Oh, yeah, and a lot more antennas, a lot more experiments with antennas. And when I talked to you the first time, using a Shure 450 Series 2. Just wonder what it sounds like to you.
Well, conditions are kind of up and down at the moment. I don't know exactly why, but they are up and down. So try it one more time. You're about 3 to 5 dB above my noise level, coming and going. Roger?
Roger, you are also coming and going. You just put one down one time. The field conditions 20 over here just until just this minute. This is with the processor off. And when you hit the processor on, can you tell any difference?
Oh, yeah, I could see you jump up there. We do recommend just running about a 3 on that processor. Our setup calls for 3 on the compressor, and then move to ALC, and with the mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC to where you are running mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on your ALC meter. Roger?
All right, that sounds good. I'll get into that, not right this minute, but after we get through. But I do appreciate the comeback, and let you go. I'm sure there's people standing in line. So I appreciate it, Jim. I appreciate the, I guess it was about a 2-minute piece on the internet. Thanks again. KC9VKV, Kilo Zulu 4 Zulu Kilo in North Georgia.
Roger Smiley, man, that call sign is a mouthful. you can't approach that call sign on a slippery day. You'd never make it. Anyway, I like your call sign. It's just difficult, but once you get it, boy, it's a snap. Anyway, 3 Smiley, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday at 3:30 till 5, and we'll compare notes, see what you've been up to. This is the KC9VKV and the Qso-Vlog network. It's 15 till 5. Better hurry up, because we turn to a pumpkin at 5. Now I just came back to my local antenna. I've got running 4 SDRs. I'm running Rochester, Raleigh, Milford, and Alexandria, Virginia, and my local radio, and they're all on a rotary switch, so I can go in about a second and a half. I can check all my signals twice. But obviously sometimes there's some latency involved in some of the SDRs, which kind of slows things up. But anyway, when I came back to my radio, I heard somebody just signing through, or the last part of their call sign. So that loud station, come back.
Kilo Bravo 5, Sierra Echo
Sierra Echo what? Station Sierra Echo something. Try again.
Kilo Bravo 5, Sierra Echo Tango KV5 SCT.
Kilo Bravo 5 Sierra Echo Tango. Roger.
Kilo Bravo 5 Sierra Echo SCT.
Yeah, I got you that time. I was making that 5. It looks like an S. So Kilo Bravo 5 Sierra Echo Tango. Roger.
Roger. The name here is Jim, Juliet India Mike, and I'm in northeast Arkansas, about 75 miles west of Memphis, Tennessee.
Roger, Jim. Have we talked before?
I was been trying to hold again off again on 40 meters to cause the antenna problems, but I've got one up now. I just was hoping it was getting out.
Roger, Jim. Check your radio to be sure your clarifier is set at 000. Check your clarifier to be sure it's set at 000. Roger.
Roger, I will do that. I got to find it first, but I will check that. Thank you.
Roger, sounds like you might be just a little off frequency there, just a tad. I'm not sure up or down, but it sounded like something the clarifier would cause. Roger.
I'll look it now for it's a new radio to me. I bought a 7610 and I'm still getting used to it.
Oh man, you got a beautiful radio. That is absolutely my perfect radio there, the 7610. It just is all the 7300 is, but with a nice little item called Drive. I don't know if you've had a chance to experiment with Drive yet, but Drive is just it's a dynamic range cruncher that's the way I'll put it. You can just, whereas a 7300 you'd normally run it at about a 3 dB dynamic range. 7610 you can get that 3 dB and then go up to drive and just crunch that thing down to about 2 dB if you want, 1 dB if you want, a half a dB if you're crazy. I don't suggest running a half a dB dynamic range. That what that does is, I'm looking at your audio signal on the VU meter, and if you were to crank that drive up all the way, you would be running a half a dB of dynamic range. So that would mean that my a VU meter would be looking like a plate voltmeter. It would just be quivering instead of bouncing around like a normal VU meter would. That meter would just be quivering there between the 0 set level and half a dB below that. Amazing radio.
Roger, I like it. Like I said, I'm still getting used to it. I had a 7300 and took a lightning strike, and so when I went back with the 7610 for a couple of reasons. But the 7610 is a lot more radios than the 7300.
Roger. Now, I only know the 7610 from the transmit section, because I don't actually work on the receiver at all, just on the transmitter audio setup, and it just we've probably tuned up about 70 some odd 7610s. They're just a joy to work with, and maybe if you'd be interested in a fatter signal, I could run through some of that with you. But if you just got that radio, you may not know where everything is. So if you have a pencil and paper, I could tell you the areas that you need to find out how to get to. The first one would be your compressor, how to get to your compressor. The second one is how to get to your ALC meter, how to bring up your ALC meter. The third would be your mic gain control, and you would use your mic gain control to adjust your ALC level to mid-scale to 2/3. That's what that's all about. And then into EQ. I think ICOM calls it tone control, and you probably want to crank in about 2 or 3 dB top end EQ to just depending on what mic you're running. What mic are you running with that radio?
I'm running a Pro 7 headset.
Roger. I would crank in about 3 dB over whatever you're currently running. About 3 dB hotter top end than where you are now, Roger.
Roger.
And gosh, if you, I could hear you pretty well then. But anyway, so you find out all those, how to get to all those areas. Make yourself a cheat sheet about how to get there, and then give me a shout next Friday, and we'll set her up, Roger.
Roger. I will certainly do that. I appreciate the help very much.
Roger. Yeah, 3 is that way, sir, and good signal. What was your antenna situation?
I have a off-center fed dipole. It's 135 total feet long, fed with ladder line into the back of an MSJ 989D tuner.
Roger. And what was your call sign one more time?
Kilo Bravo 5 Sierra Echo Tango 85
I got you, Jim. I just didn't know where to look. It's getting late, So anyway, let me say 3s to you, sir. You're sounding good, and join us next Friday if you get a chance. This is Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog page, network, or whatever. If you've got a radio that you want to hear the audio, give us a shout. We are recording now till 5, which is about 7 minutes away. Or if you want to try to set up your audio, we do that also. This is KC9VKV. Something Tango, try again, sir.
Kilo Tango, Norway Tango.
Oh, TNT again? Roger, Roger. Did you check in earlier? We had a TNT earlier. Was that you?
Just now checked in.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Okay, be on the lookout. There's another TNT out there somewhere. Roger, Roger.
Hey, Roger, we better not get together. We may explode or something.
Roger, Roger. What's the name there, sir?
Ken, Kilo 6.
Roger, Ken. And what radio are you running, sir?
I'm running Icon 15300 on a DS6KW, which is I guess, G5RV based antenna.
Roger. Well, your dynamic range is about 10 dB. It's fairly unprocessed audio. If you would like a little fatter audio, I would go to my compressor, engage my compressor at about a 3. A token amount, but does its job about a 3 out of 10 on the compressor, Roger?
Roger, that is where it is currently set. Over.
Alrighty, then I would go to my ALC meter, and with mic gain in hand, I would adjust the ALC reading to be mid-scale to 2/3. Mid-scale to 2/3 on the ALC.
Okay, I'm almost mid-scale. I'm going up a little bit. I'm about almost mid-scale, over.
Alrighty, and your mic EQ sounds alright. Thing is, what you want to do is try to be as deliberate as you can about the way you address the microphone and about your volume to the microphone. You know, the more consistent you are in using that microphone consistently the same way, the more consistent your audio level will be, Roger.
Roger on that. Most of the time, I try to hold it about 3 or 4 inches in front of my mouth, in front of my face, pretty much straight on.
Roger. Now, what kind of mic is that?
Currently, I am running the stock hand mic. I just came back portable.
Roger that. Okay, I would pull that hand mic up and work it to the side of my mouth. I would pull the hand mic up to the side of my mouth and work across it, Roger.
Okay, Roger. I've made that change with my position.
Okay, and then tell me about your antenna system.
I'm currently running a G5RV variant, the DS6KW, and I think it's about a 92 foot, it's about 25 feet up.
Roger. Now, just out of curiosity, I don't usually do this, but if you move your compressor up to about a 4, I'd like to hear you with about a 4 on your compressor. You kind of have a peaky voice, you know, and that compressor will take that and try to make that more linear as far as each word similar to the other. Roger?
Roger, I just cranked the compressor 4 now, and how does that sound to you? Back to you.
I think it's more consistent. Like I say, usually I suggest a 3, but I think in your case a 4 does well. And again, you're working that microphone to the side of your mouth and working across it. You can, if you like, solve that problem if you go to your local music store and get a foam windscreen. I think they're like about $4 or $5, and just slip over that microphone, and then you can work that mic however you want to, Roger.
Didn't smell so bad. That's been an old Congo production.
Roger. Well, I've got a guy that does that, and he swears it's a new sock. But I'll tell you what it does. It doesn't quite do the filtering as well as a foam windscreen does, and it does tend to roll off a little bit on the top end, which the foam windscreen would not. Roger? Okay, and you have kind of slipped down now to about a dB or so above my noise level. But what was the name again?
Roger that. You're fading on me too. I think the QS Baker is getting.
Roger. Name there is Ken. Is that a Roger?
Roger. Yeah, I think QS Baker is getting us. So you're fading on me also.
Roger, Ken. Well, threes to you, sir. And if you get a chance, join us next Friday and say hello, and we'll compare notes and see what you've been up to. And what was your location?
I'm located in the upstate of South Carolina, kind of the northwest corner.
Roger, South Carolina. And so we'll be, we are air checking right now, and actually we have been air checking from 3:30 till now. And so if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our Qso-Vlog page. And on that page, you'll be looking for Qso entitled My Group Aircheck 8919. My Group Aircheck 8919. Roger? Roger, Ken. It'll be a couple of days before I can post it up on YouTube. So, it will be at least a couple of days. Roger.
Roger. That'll be great.
Roger. Three's that way, Ken, and you have a real good afternoon, evening, and the great weekend. And gosh, here we are. It's a couple of minutes after 5, and we have turned into a pumpkin. So we're going to jump out of here. We've enjoyed it. Hope you got a chance to check in and get your audio recorded, or get yourself assisted in setting up your audio on your radio. And if so, then we'll be back next Friday to keep on keeping on. We've enjoyed it so much. My name here is Jim, and we are located next to Louisville, Kentucky. We're on the Indiana side of the Ohio River, right at Louisville. So we'll say threes for now, and you have a great weekend. This is a KC9VKV Clear. Some station for short. What was the call again? I was copying you a little bit on the Milford, PA SDR, but it kind of faded out from that. What's your location, sir?
Sure. Oh, okay. Yeah, we got a little QSB here. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in the central North Carolina. Over.
I went back to my local antenna, and you're much better. So you're in North Carolina, Roger?
Yeah, we're in North Carolina. And anyway, I've been trying to get in here for about a month. But real quickly here, this is a Rode NT1 microphone, and just tell me real quick what it's like.
Okay, you're really close to my noise level, so it's hard to actually hear it. Maybe you said it's a Rode condenser mic, Roger?
Yeah, Roger.
Okay, and what is your current EQ settings?
Okay, we're favoring the 2.5K a little bit, and we've got a little bit of the lows dialed in. So that's about all we've done to it.
Roger. Yeah, from what I can hear, it sounds pretty good. Usually you have to be careful about condenser mics, particularly real condenser mics. They do have an accentuated low-end response capability. So I find that usually, I'm talking 20 cycles. And what you want to do probably is just roll that low end out below 150 cycles or so. Just start your roll out there, Roger.
Okay, real fine. All right, we've just been playing around with it. I'll let you go. Sorry to Yeah, I'm having a little trouble with the QSB. It's like conditions have changed. I listened to you all the way home from work for about an hour.
But go ahead and get your rest, and we'll catch you again. K4LJE.
LJE, I just got you in the clear on Milford. You sound great. I wouldn't change that EQ at all. It would be a matter of fattening the audio signal. I would check my compressor. I would run that compressor at about a 3 out of 10. I run that compressor at a 3 out of 10, and then adjust your ALC meter with your mic gain to where you're running a mid-scale to 2/3, and you'll be ready to go.
We'll play around with it a little bit, and we got a little bit of compression, but anyway, we'll catch you later. We'll come back when we got a little more time. K4LJE, thank you.
Roger. Yeah, I would just suggest a 3 out of 10 on that compressor, because if you get higher, there's a tendency to hear it work, and I don't like to hear a compressor work. And so a 3 out of 10, it's doing its thing, but it's not noticeable, and that's the way a compressor should be working in my estimation. So anyway, 3's that way, sir, and we'll catch you later. This is a KC9VKV 3 all. We're clear.
K4LJE clear. Thanks.